You previously learned about how not all inheritance patterns are as straightforward and simple as dominant and recessive alleles. That's what Mendel was looking at in his P plans, and everything seemed to follow that simple, complete dominance pattern. But there are two other types of inheritance patterns that you previously talked about, and they are incomplete dominance and codominance. So this set of slides just reviews those two types of inheritance patterns that are different than what Mendel was looking at. For incomplete dominance, this is when two different alleles show a blended phenotype or trait. And so for this example, it looks like we have an R allele for red color and a W allele for white color. If an organism inherits each of those alleles, so they're heterozygous and they're RW, then those colors are actually going to mix together to make a pink phenotype. So you're mixing together red and white to make a new phenotype, which is pink. The other example on the right corner of the screen, it looks like there's a C allele for curly and an S allele for straight. If an organism inherits one of each of those for their genotype, then the curly and straight will actually mix together and create that wavy texture for their phenotype. So both of these examples are showing incomplete dominance. So it's not just dominant and recessive. The traits are never getting hidden, but instead the two alleles are just mixing together and blending to create a third new phenotype in the heterozygous form. Codominance is that other type of inheritance pattern, and this is when two different alleles both show in the expressed phenotype. So we're using the same example on the left here, so the red and the white alleles. But if an organism is inheriting both of these, so they're heterozygous, they're RW, instead of those alleles mixing together to make pink, they're actually both showing. And so this would be like a flower that has red and white stripes or something that has polka dots. So that's codominance. The prefix co means like you're working together. You're both doing the work. Both of these alleles are showing. So they're not blending together. They're both showing. Codominance. They're both dominant, which means they're both showing. The other example here is similar, but we're just using a W for a white allele and a B for a black allele. And if those are both there for the heterozygous individual, then the organism would have some sort of spots or stripes. It says spots on here for this example. So this is codominance. Both of the alleles will be showing. They do not blend together because that would be incomplete dominance. All right, to wrap up this set of slides, we have a few examples just to make sure you understand the difference. So for this first example, we see some flowers. It looks like these are heterozygous flowers. They have the R allele, they have the Y allele. And if that is the case, they're going to have the stripes, and that would make this codominance. So both of the alleles are showing because they're both dominant. So they're like co-captains. They're both showing themselves. They're working together and creating that striped pattern. For this flower, same alleles, R and Y. If this flower is heterozygous, they have an R allele and a Y allele. But instead of creating stripes, these colors are actually mixing together to create a new color, orange. This would be incomplete dominance. So they're both mixing together, they're blending. For our third example here, we have a B allele for black, a W allele for white. If this chicken is heterozygous, they're BW, they have one of each of these alleles. They're both showing. So for the trait we see, it's got this pattern, this striped pattern. This would be codominance. The alleles are both showing. Again, these are the co-captains. They're not mixing together. They're not compromising. They're both dominant, so they're both going to show themselves. So this is the difference between incomplete dominance and codominance.